Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by Prize Picks. Well, act like I didn't say that last part. My name is Bomani Jones. I have completely forgotten. I accidentally gave away some free advertising. It just throws me off. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We have a guest joining us here from various Turner Sports properties. I don't even know what his main job is, but you can catch him on the Tuesday Inside the NBA on TNT. Should I call you just Lefkoe? Like when I was down there with Turner, there's no Adam Lefkoe. Like you have moved on to the one name portion of the program. You're like Morrissey.
Yes, no, that's the entire plan. I saw Shaq and I saw Chuck, and I said, I'm still in that
And now we're at the place
entirely.
where I can't hear him.
Yes.
Anybody else that can't hear him? Oh, just me.
Just you, pal. Just you, pal.
No, I can't.
Nothing? Still?
There we go. There we go.
Okay. You know, I knew coming on here, the problem was I left a 4-star review, and so I think this is the hate just reverberating on me.
Well, part of what I love about this, I am one of those people who kind of goes through a life where people say to me that I have a radio voice, and I think what they're really saying is they think I have a voice that could work on the radio. Because I know people that have actual radio voices, and that is you. And I do wonder, like, was it like that all the time, or did you just become this person? Like, did the person become the radio voice, or was the radio voice the person first?
That's interesting because I used to hate my voice because I would listen to people like Nance and Costas and it was so rich and clear. And I always thought I had like this Philly accent. And then I would use radio voices and Batman voices as like a joke. And I think it kind of wove its way in there. But coming from you, who has an unbelievable tone, that really does mean a lot. It's kind of like I saw Vernon Maxwell talking recently, and I was like, top 5 voices I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yo, and we're going to talk later about some like Team USA stuff, just general basketball things. But it is very interesting for me to see all the people doing these interviews with Vernon now, because The Right Time was way early on the program and get the interview with Vernon. Like that Gary Payton story that's going around now. Nah, we had that Gary Payton story. I want to call it like 2020 because we was in the pandemic and we was just scraping to get people off. And we got Vern. And it was so funny because I saw Vern in Houston at the All-Star game in 2013 at Kenny's party. You know, Kenny Smith does the party. And I remember I walked in and I was like, damn, there go Vernon Maxwell. That means now I got to spend my night keeping an eye on Vern. Because I'm from Houston, man. I know it ain't no telling what Vern gonna do, right? Vern once left Luby's cafeteria and pulled a gun on somebody in traffic. And he got a bag. What's going on? And so I tell Vern this, and Vern sounded a little bit offended at the idea that I thought that you need to keep an eye on Vernon Maxwell, that he might be trouble. And then he later says the whole reason that he came to the party was because he wanted to fight Gary Payton. That was the only reason he was there.
It's a special human being that truly does do on-site. Like people say on-site, but to actually be an on-site guy at that age, you know, like usually people grow out of on-site. But it's you reach a point where I don't know if it's a Verzuz, a celebrity boxing match. I don't know if we need him against Jake Paul, but like he's got to get that out.
Yes. Yes, like Charles Oakley's an on-site. And I imagine.
My gosh.
Yes. I mean, we got, and I don't feel like it's okay to give the details, but you and I spent a night getting the best Charles Oakley stories from Vince Carter when we were doing the Altcast. And everything you ever thought about Charles Oakley, it all checks out.
Even the way that Vince Carter described Charles Oakley's hands, like he described them that they were like hard and tiny and like paddles. And like, it's like perfect for smacking people's faces. And it was like a level of description where I was like, wow, I almost want to upset Charles Oakley just to feel it so that I can be in this club of people that have been smacked by Charles Oakley.
No, you need to find somebody else that maybe Charles Oakley could make upset. Because I tell people, look, there's a day once when I was at ESPN, I'm working at the Seaport, and I walked in, and Charles Oakley showed up unannounced, uninvited, with a hard drive wishing to get on First Take and to present video of how he was mistreated at Madison Square Garden. Now, my assumption has always been that when he got to the desk, he called for Stephen A, and Stephen A said, okay, let him in. Or he got to the desk and they were just like, protocols? What protocols? Come on in, buddy.
Man, the only way that story is better if it was like a floppy disk, like something that was just way too old that wasn't going to be able to play.
Yes.
But
Charles quickly showed up with a 3.5.
I think, oh my gosh. That's why I kind of think people like in our generation, the generation before, they're always bemoaning these young NBA players because there's a level of crazy that doesn't seem to exist anymore. And that level of crazy really was fun.
Well, what has happened is nobody stumbles into the NBA anymore, right? It's like pretty much everybody that's in the NBA has been charting the course of going to the NBA for so long. It's been a plan. They got people that are teaching them that the way to deal with the media is to be boring. And by the way, they're all completely wrong. Like, unless you're going to be a superstar, and most of them will not, you better get out here with some jokes, right? Honestly, all that personality is wasted on Anthony Edwards. He need to be passing that down to somebody like Jaden McDaniels. You need to be out here acting like Anthony Edwards. Then I might know what you look like. But anyway, these cats used to kind of stumble into the NBA, and you get some dudes that was like, hey, man, just a couple steps away from being some real trouble in other areas. We don't get them cats anymore.
Yeah, like everyone loves to talk about how James Jones is so dangerous. I want to see it. Like I know
you mean James Johnson
that's going to cause it. Yeah, James Johnson. Yes, 100%. Like everyone's like, he's a black belt and he can kick you in the head. And I'm like, can we let it slip one time with no punishment? Like the only guy that's really doing it is Draymond. And now we know all of his moves. We know the backhand slap, the reverse chokehold, the kick to the groin. Like he if he got put in the WWE video game, he'd have a finisher and everything.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned this about James Johnson, and I had never thought about this. And I have been, watching James Johnson / covering since he was at Wake Forest. It would have been so much better if nobody ever told us that he was like an 8th degree black belt. Because it's not just that he's like an 8th degree black belt. His dad is like an 8th degree black belt. I think his mama know one of the kung fus. Like they a squad of kung fu killers. They whole squad. And I just wish, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, if somebody gets into a fight with somebody who knows one of the kung fus, but nobody knew that dude knew no kung fu. I have seen that happen before, and it is uproarious. You think you're bullying, and then next thing you know, man, it just only would have been better if Buddy had made a noise, right? Instead, he did it silently. Like, we need some of the sound effects.
First time I've ever seen that, I remember that I have a friend, he grew up in New York and I was visiting him and he sat me down. He's like, have you really dug into World Star Hip Hop? And I was like, not really. And he just took me on like a fight compilation day for like 8 hours. And that's not usually my cup of tea, but I'll never forget one where they like bullied this kid and he just started kicking and chopping. And to see everybody go down, that was a secret. Bomani, I realize now, like talking to you a few times, when's the last time you've said, damn, I forgot that? Because you remember everything.
It happens. No, it happens. It happens. And actually, I kind of wish, damn, I forgot that happened a little more, because what happens is I just be out here saying things sometimes and I get it wrong, but everybody assumes that I'm right. And so the next thing I know, I got people on my neck for being wrong because ain't nobody protecting me, because they look at me like I'm the Google. They're like, oh, well, if he says so, that must be the case, right? But, every now and then it gets to that place.
Well, listen, you say you're the Google. I am Lefkoe GPT. I locked myself in a room yesterday because we are in the doldrums of sports content. And at any moment, when you need a random question, I have 100 random questions. You just say a number between 1 and 100, and I got you. That is my contribution to the show today.
Let me tell you what I love about this. I actually sent a text to our friend Taylor about this, right? Taylor does this thing. We're having that Taylor on in a while. I need to have her on. And you get Taylor on the show, and the next thing you know, Taylor starts interviewing you, because that's what Taylor does.
100%.
Like that's her game. And so I was doing some CNN work this week, and I'm on the panel, And at some point, I had something I wanted to say, but I turned it to a question because it was kind of, I find that's the best non-confrontational way to challenge somebody that you don't know in a television setting. It's like, well, let me ask you about that because I think this. So what is it that I'm missing here? And then you can engage in some dialogue. I also realized what it is that I'm so used to being in charge that suddenly I needed to go back to being in charge, and you do that by asking questions. I say that to say hosts
Oh,
cannot
interesting.
stop being hosts. You're just like, oh, don't you worry, buddy. I got questions for you too.
Well, because I think that, like, look, I host a podcast with Shaq, and when we have guests on, I realize that they are so excited to be with Shaq that it is my role to facilitate an incredible experience between the two. I know that when people tune into the right time with Bomani Jones, that they want to get into the nooks and crannies of your brain. They do not care what I think about LeBron being the best player on Team USA at his ripe old age of damn near 40. And so for me, I want to be a conduit to all those 5-star reviews. And yes, it's an amazing crutch when you lose power and someone wants to ask you questions. It is great for that.
I will also like to make the note that one of my favorite things to point out about you is you are a Syracuse grad, and I did not realize that until we were doing the Altcast, and we got a text, the two of us, from our mutual good friend Nick Wright, and I did not realize you were a Syracuse guy. I didn't realize you guys went back, and then I heard you just say the thing about LeBron being the best player on Team USA, and that reminded me to remind all the people, if you did not know this, Nick and Lefkoe are the same person. They're not exactly the same person. They're maybe an octave apart tonally, perhaps, but bear a lot of significantly similar characteristics.
I'll take that as a huge compliment because I think
Oh,
Nick
yeah, he's one of my
is an
favorite people.
absolute powerhouse. Yeah.
He ditched me
He's
this
like
weekend, though. I have to tell you about this.
He's the
Hold on. I
kindest,
have to tell you
biggest
about this.
degenerate I've ever met.
Yeah, I got to tell everybody about this. So the good folks at Count the Dings did a podcast in the city, and Nick and I were on it together, and so we rode in together. And thanks to Count the Dings for inviting me to leave my house on a Saturday night so I could listen to LeBron and Tom Haberstroh talk about how Michael Jordan didn't deserve the 1988 MVP. I couldn't have done that anywhere else other than at your show. Anyway, so I get there, and while we're there, I'm looking for Nick because we rode in together, and I was going to ride out with him. And I went to the back for a second because you know what I'm saying. So I went to the back room for a second, and I was like, okay, well, Nick will find me. And I came out and looked for Nick, and I didn't see him. They ditched me. He's left. I sent him a text at some point. I think after I got home, I sent it because I rode to Subway. I think I sent a text and was like, yo, I'm guessing you left? And he's like, my bad. I was looking for you, and then I found Danielle, and then I forgot that I was looking for you.
Listen, there
goes your big old kind-hearted degenerate, Lefkoe, right there. Yes. There's the big-hearted degenerate you talk about.
It's funny because you come back and you're in a state where you're like, man, I'm on a different playing field. I'm on a different planet now. My friends left. But also that's what happens when you have a wife is you get to a point where like, it's cool to have friends and all, but like she told me I have to go. And I don't have any weight in this conversation. It changes very quickly.
The most difficult part about being what I have become, which is a middle-aged bachelor, is that my friends, once you get married, you don't really have friends. I mean, like you had friends, and you guys like perhaps love each other, but you don't really have friends anymore. Like I got one friend that's getting back into the fray. You know what I'm saying? And we got to figure out how to be friends again.
Man. Yeah, because before it's like we have limited time to hang out. That time needs to be like we need to do a lot in that time. And so all of the working in like warming up to conversations, like there's not a lot of casual time anymore. Like you got to go 100 miles an hour to be good friends again.
Yes. And well, the other thing I wind up having to do is like I work hard to ingratiate myself to my friends' wives, but I wish to ingratiate myself to them in a very particular way, which is to say, don't worry, I'm not trouble, right? Because look, I'm the single friend with some money and some visibility, right? That is worrisome to a bunch of wives. I could understand that. I need them to understand I'm so down with you that I would never allow
Yes.
such a thing to happen on my watch.
That's beautiful. You understand it. And that's we
Yes.
as the married delegation appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, y'all need that. Y'all need that. Because look, you know the friend that your wife is like, nah, y'all ain't.
They're not friends anymore.
So
They can't.
You had to drop them all.
They can't.
You had to drop them all.
They can. I'll see you when I see you, man.
You just can't keep
All
shaking
right, pick
up
a
the
number,
hoe.
Bo.
All
Pick
right,
a number,
all right,
Bo.
all right. 23.
1 to 100. 23.
23.
Okay. If they created a Bomani Jones museum and upon entering into the lobby under a skylight, there was one take sitting perfectly in the center that everyone was welcomed in. It's your best, most impressive take. Which one would it be?
Wow. Okay. I would say, honestly, it would be the take that I offered in 2014 that somehow did not make that terrible television show about Donald Sterling, that we were all making a foolish mistake, that in the end we were just here because he said something bad about Magic Johnson. That man had to pay the largest house discrimination lawsuit of all time, and nobody thought that that was racist enough. But he came out here and said some rude things when he was being taped, and now all of a sudden everybody want to jump through the roof. I ain't never felt more like the smartest man in the world than I did that week, boy.
So you walk into the Bomani Museum and it is a bust of Donald Sterling, and under
Yes.
it says, "I told you so."
Yes, it is.
Gotcha.
Yes, it is. That is exactly what we got. All right, I'm throwing another number at you. 36.
Ooh, I like this one. Who do you think is better at freestyling, Isaiah Hartenstein or Dante DiVincenzo?
Oh, Dante, no question. Absolutely no question, Dante. Dante has put in more practice. Like Big Lurch, I feel like deep down, he knows the deal. You hear his voice. He know what time it is. He ain't really got nothing to prove. And if he did have to prove it, I think he was over there in Germany. Who would they to G-check him on what it was, right? But White Dante, oh man, he done stayed having something to prove. I bet he know how to line up his. I bet White Dante know how to cut hair.
Ooh. The way that he like talks to fans makes me think that he's the kind of guy that like lets the beat play for a little bit and then just goes,
Yes.
A few times. Yeah, he 100% does it on car rides by himself to practice.
True story. Frank Isola, this is so funny. Imagine Frank Isola telling you this. I saw Dante DiVincenzo somewhere wearing a hoodie, and you know what it said on it? Africa. That's the funniest thing anybody has ever told me in my life.
And you're right. Frank Isola reporting it like it's a Yankees box score makes it even better.
Yes. And you have to understand, Frank Isola may be more adjacent to the culture than a lot of you realize. But he saw that and was like, come on. Because look, he's an Isola that's a DiVincenzo. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, come on, dog.
Oh, damn.
You want one more number? I'm kind of enjoying this, I have to admit.
Bro, I have so many. Like, yeah, give me another one.
3.
Okay. Phone rings. It's Kamala Harris. And she says, Bo, it's time. I need you as my running mate. Your initial inclination, is it yes? And then who do you call? And then if you do say yes, what is your big Bo strategy?
Okay. My initial inclination is to say no, because I cannot survive a vetting process. You have to make a decision. You want to live like this a long way back. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like that's the one thing about it. I would probably call my older brother and I would ask him about it, right? And I would get his answer. But I'm gonna be honest with you. There are a lot of jobs that they don't like to hire single men to do, right? Be a minister, be a football coach, a lot of other things, right? Like there's two levels of it, right? One of them is they wonder if you're gay, and you know that makes people feel a little uncomfortable about themselves. And then
Yep.
the other is the exact opposite, right? They worry that you about to be doing the damn thing at every turn. And I'm here to tell you, I would. I would. If you gonna give me that ridiculously stressful job, you gonna send me all over the world. I would be without question the coolest motherfucker to ever be the vice president. Like let's get that part clear right now. America ain't never had no vice president like this one would be right here. All right. So you get me out here and you get me giving these talks and going these places. In fact, I would be, you know who my political idol would be? In fact, and it would be kind of in line for you,
Eric
Lefkoe. You a
Adams.
Philadelphia dude. Nah, I would be vice president like Teddy Pendergrass. We gonna do some ladies only shows. Now, am I as sexy as Teddy Pendergrass? No. Do women like me as much as Teddy Pendergrass? Not right now. If you give me that much power, which I confidently say women are into that. You give me that much power at this place I am in, and I've been lifting weights and stuff. Oh boy, 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 boy! I'd be late to work every day, every day.
Let's ask the listeners: is Bomani Jones as sexy as Teddy Pendergrast? We'll get to that in the next.
I want to be clear. I don't think that I know. I want to make sure they know I'm not. But Vice President Bomani Jones. Oh man, man. And by the way, just so I think you asked what I think you asked though. Hold on. I think you asked what my campaign promise would be. Strategy?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Basically, I can only be vice president if we adjust them schedules. I think they're trying to move that thing off of the Schedule 1. But federal legalization would happen with me because otherwise I can't be the vice president. Like, I'd be like, you know how Trump be trying to get all this stuff done just so he can, like, get himself out of jail if it come down to it? That would be me. There we go. Vice President Jones. We're outside. That's right.
I like that. I also like Bomani's campaign slogan is "They go low, we get high."
There you go. There you go. And I'm telling you, I think them Zoomers,
good.
them Zoomers might be about that life. Get they lazy. Well, see, that's the problem, man. I need to get their lazy asses to go vote. I don't even know if the Zoomers are lazy. Are they lazy? It just feels like I'm at the age where I should call them lazy.
Oh, I have moments all the time where I go, this generation, and then I stop and I go, I am crumpling under the weight of my age, and this is not okay.
How about this, though? Because you're about my age. This is the second generation that I've had judgments on. Like, once people told me that the millennials, that I'm almost one of, but not, that the millennials and the Zoomers were different people, it was like, wow, I'm way out here.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm an older millennial, but the Z's, and my son is an alpha, apparently. That's what the next one is called. And I'm over here showing him, like when we hung out before, you were telling me about like Prince at Syracuse. I'm literally playing old concerts like that for him just to try and ingrain old head attitudes into him. Like people are like, does he like Mrs. Rachel? And I'm like, no, he likes Mrs. Aretha Franklin. Like, we're not doing this nonsense. I'm not doing cartoon dogs.
Let me tell you something. Young Prince is going to be a fascinating cultural hodgepodge. Like, you're going to have the world he lives in, your moves for American old school, and the Nigerian influence that's coming, whether you ask for it or not. That guy is going to be dexterous.
We're going in December. I have no idea what to expect in Nigeria. I'm truly removing all control, and I'm just going to allow that to happen. But to get to watch this little, like, he'll be one at the time, year-old, like, baby in Nigeria, he'll never be the same, and I can't wait. He's getting the Bomani experience.
Well, yeah, let me tell you what Nigeria is going to be for you, brother. Amazing. Now, you could be saying, gee, Bomani, what do you mean by amazing? I mean everything that amazing could possibly mean. No matter what direction amazing goes in, no matter what connotation, Nigerians are amazing all the time.
They are. Yes. They really are. Which is funny because you sent me the article from earlier today where Paul George was like, criticize me, like give me
Yes.
everything. And I was trying to explain from a Philadelphia's perspective what it's like being an athlete with Philadelphia fans. And I really
Whoa, hold
think
on.
it's
Stop
like
right there.
being
Stop
a
right there.
second
Stop right there. Stop right
generation.
there. Stop right there.
Okay,
Stop
okay,
right there.
okay.
Stop right there. We have advertisements, and so this is the perfect tease for how Paul George
Nice.
really don't know what he out here talking about. We'll get to that on the right time. Not that one. Hey guys, if you listen or watch the show, you know I've been in the gym recently working on my fitness. Been trying to get my body right, especially for the summer, and I recently got some stuff from Greatness Wins, and it's been a game changer. Founded by Hall of Famer Derek Jeter, dancer Misty Copeland, and the founder of Untuck It, Greatness Wins has provided the perfect balance of superior performance and comfort with the perfect modern fit. Trust me, the moment you feel this product, you will understand exactly what I mean. I rock Greatness Wins all the time when I work out, and it's some of the best athletic apparel I've worn, but it also looks the best. Plus, the quality is so good, I just wear it around the house and even when I run errands. So upgrade your athletic wear at greatnesswins.com now. Use code Bomani and you'll receive 25% off on your first purchase. Greatness Wins, where the demands of sport meet the science of fit. Check them out now. That's greatnesswins.com, code Bomani. Sleep is super important. And even though I just got a mattress a couple of years ago, I've been using these new pillows from Helix and they're actually amazing. Sean, I know I texted you about these pillows, but you got the mattress, right? How's that going for you?
Bo, this mattress is just as good. First off, Helix made it super easy for me to find the right mattress with their super simple Helix sleep quiz, and I was able to lock in the right mattress for me thanks to the lineup that offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections. And I had my personalized mattress shipped straight to my door free of charge, and they even scheduled a pickup for my old mattress. Bo, I gotta say, I've been sleeping like a baby with this new mattress, and I genuinely recommend it.
Hey, if you don't want to take Sean's word for it, Helix has been awarded the #1 mattress by GQ and Wired magazine. It is even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving your sleep. Plus, Helix mattresses all come with a 10 or 15-year warranty depending on the model. Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/Bomani. That's helixsleep.com/Bomani. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Yo, Lefkoe, somebody in the chat room was asking what would be like my walkout song if I was vice president. And I would like to know, by the way, Kamala Harris has decided to go with Beyonce's Freedom, which I love as a song, but it's just a little bit hardcore for the purpose. But if she opens the door that we can like really be out here knocking with our opening songs, what if I came out here and when I start walking out, you hear, my darling, darling baby. And people think it's about to be the OJs. And the next thing you know, I'm not a player. I just a lot. They like, are they ready? Are they ready for the big pun to come out? Are they ready for that? If my walkout song was "I'm not a player," I think I would go down as legend whether we get elected or not.
I kind of thought you were going to say like International Players Anthem, like the UGK or like when the beat
Yes.
drops or something. But the fact that even your song was kind of like single dude entering the room, this is going to be a lot for America. Yeah.
That's what I'm giving. No, how about this? If I pick a UGK song, take it off, chick, bend over, let me see it. If you're looking for a trill type figure, let me be it. See, like I'm just, like that's, nobody's done it like this before. Like nobody's come out here giving like Bob Barker, Richard Dawson, I'm up all them energy. Not even Joe Biden, who when he was Vice President Biden was absolutely giving, do you like my cologne energy? Every time, all them pictures of Joe Biden rubbing dudes' wives' necks with them dudes right next to him. Like Joe Biden's a dude that's in the elevator behind him. Your hair smells amazing. And that's what he had, all his faculties. That's how they should have known he was slipping. He couldn't even be getting uncomfortable with him like he used to.
I knew Joe was taking a step back when he stopped sniffing people's hair. That's when I could tell he's not the same Joe anymore. You're ridiculous.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. But we were talking about Paul George in this morning, but I was thinking about what we could talk about. You are a Philly guy, and I just saw this headline. Sean, can we put this headline up? I didn't see the full quote. I imagine that this was on Paul George's podcast for the company that I work for that I have not listened to. But he says, be as critical and hard as you can. Now, I know what Cam and Mace would say about that headline, but I'm a little more grown than that. Adam, does he know what he is saying here?
He has severely underestimated the next few years of his life. To explain, because I think Philadelphia fans get this rap that they boo all the time. But I would say that being friends with a lot of Philadelphia athletes, when it goes well, the peaks are higher than any peak. But I would compare being an athlete in Philadelphia for a sport that they care about to either being the child of a military parent or being a second generation immigrant whose parents came over. And the stories that I hear from my wife where it's like, hey, Dad, I got a 96 on my test. And Dad goes, well, why didn't you get 100? Even when you do well, the expectations are that it must be higher, and it doesn't end. And then when you do achieve those moments, that parent goes, well, I did push them the entire way. And so I think it's just nonstop. It doesn't let up is what I don't think he realizes.
Well, on top of that, I have a question on that, though, because Stephen A. Smith always makes the point that as long as you play hard, you good, right? Like Allen Iverson being the example, that as long as you play hard, you good. But something about Paul George seems to mean so well at all times without understanding that's not the case with everybody else.
I think I think the Philadelphia athlete that took it the worst would be Donovan McNabb, because he would get yelled at for smiling. So even when they're winning division conference, and they're going to the conference finals and then the Super Bowl, even if they thought he wasn't trying that hard, which we've just seen the last few years where Paul George isn't playing that many games, if the effort's not there and you're winning, you're still going to get it. It's just a fiery combo.
Yeah, like McNabb, y'all were out from Jump Street on McNabb from day one. Yeah. But what makes it so funny is, can you imagine how crazy it would have been if they had done what y'all wanted and you got Ricky?
Man, that's it doesn't even make sense for a fan base now to be upset for not taking a running back with the second overall pick. Like in the world of the NFL today, that doesn't even. And then there's a team that trades every single pick in the draft for that running back. And let alone the fact of social anxiety and smoking weed before people realize that it was so many dynamics are like when you watch a movie. Like I watched Sandlot the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, there's not a cell phone in this entire commercial. I mean, this entire movie, and they're not even thinking about it. And it just seems like a relic now. It doesn't even seem like it's real anymore.
Well, let me ask you this though: when are y'all gonna be kind of up on this Embiid thing? Because I feel like you guys have given him a level of patience that most people don't receive.
I don't think if you're in the trenches, if you're in the group chats like me and a bunch of my friends from home, I mean, I would say every year there's been a call, maybe we should trade Embiid. There's always been that. I just think that this offseason for the Sixers has gone picture perfect in a way that Daryl Morey perfectly timed out, whether intentional or not, the fear of other NBA teams with the second apron in a year where like Denver and all these teams finally decided not to spend. The one team with the money got the prized free agent, could build around him. And so there is cautious optimism. But once they are in that second round series against the Celtics or the Knicks, that fear of not getting to another conference finals will get there. And then if it doesn't happen this year, then I think you start hearing those calls like they were for Iverson, like they were for McNabb, because once you're seen as a guy that they don't think can get you there, that's when it comes out. And that's when it's really bad.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I now believe that he is. It's going to be interesting summer for him because he's not a great fit for international basketball, especially not with the type of team that the U.S. has, just because Embiid ball works when Embiid is the best player because you can't say anything about how long he holds the ball and everything else. And he's incredible. Like, I don't want to get to a place where we're not talking about what a great player he is, but it's a keep the ball moving game with this sort of team that they've got there. And that's not really what he does. So if he were to come off of a not so great summer, and look, I don't know how well this team is going to do in the Olympics. They are the favorites to win the gold. I would pick them to win the gold, but they've shown us enough to show us that they might get caught slipping. If he came out here getting caught slipping on Team USA when he teamed not actually from the USA and then somehow come out there a little sluggish for the Sixers and y'all out there loving America with your red, white, and blue, y'all might try to put a stamp on him and send him back to Cameroon.
Everyone wants the player of their team to have the Dwayne Wade, LeBron Olympic experience with Kobe, where they witness what it takes to be an all-time great and it forever changes their trajectory. But they don't think about what if my player on my team has that KG moment or where they get a bronze and all of a sudden people are doubting them, or what if they have a Brandon Ingram moment from a USA basketball team last year where Steve Kerr was like, I don't want him out there at the end of a game. There is definitely another side to this where I think Sixers fans were like, oh, Embiid gets to be around LeBron and all these guys. But if it turns out that, like, hey man, we've noticed you just flop a lot, yeah, no, that kind of ruins everything. That doesn't make me feel good. But Maxey is
you
amazing.
Also could tell,
we all love Maxey.
Yeah, but you can also tell, though, Embiid ain't played that much FIBA ball because he has tried that flopping out there, and it is not – they don't play that game. It's a man's game over there, Jack.
I love single elimination. I mean, what I'm watching with those games with South Sudan and Germany, it does feel like March Madness. Like, it feels like Oakland and that Jack Golke kid knocking off Kentucky, where it's like, if the threes are falling, I don't care if you have 10 future Hall of Famers. We can win this game. And so I'm rooting for USA, obviously, but I'm also rooting for them to get scared a lot because it is really fun.
No. White people don't know how to act. Like, that's my only thing is that I just hate the way that they treat us as a unit, as a team. Well, not us because I'm not on the basketball team, but you know what I'm talking about. Nobody's happy when they win. Everybody just want to say something when they don't necessarily play that well. But I tell you this, man, I bet Team USA, they about to be over there in Paris, boy. I bet they live in the life, except I don't know if you've seen the stories, though, where the visitor numbers, I think we did it if you haven't heard about this, but because of the Olympics, people don't want to go to Paris this summer.
Oh.
Yeah, like, that's how dope Paris is. The Olympics makes it a less attractive proposition. And so the pictures I've seen, it looked like Freaknik 99, which was the last time they had a Freaknik, which was basically when the cops outnumbered the people. And they got them cops in lines on the road. Like, ain't no shenanigans going down in Paris. None.
Man. I can't imagine. I was talking with Swin Cash. She's now in the front office for the Pelicans, and I'm really good friends with her and her husband, Steve. And they were talking about the Beijing Olympics, I think, when Kobe was there, and just how famous he was, and how athletes from every single country were just coming over just to try to get a glimpse of Kobe or a picture with Kobe. And I feel like they're trying to put LeBron into that spot. And I don't know if it's the same, but I'm curious the reaction to LeBron from the rest of the world during this Olympics.
Oh, I would think it's already there. Like with Kobe, the thing about Kobe is Kobe was so big in China, right? Like a specific place. Like, I don't think anybody was bigger in China at that point other than Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady, right? Like, he was just such a giant star at that point. LeBron, like, as evidenced by the flag bearer thing. Like, I find this very interesting, and people think I was just hating on LeBron about this, but I think they miss my point. Like, I don't think the Olympics is for professional basketball players. I don't think the Olympics are for pros for whom the pinnacle of their sports is other stuff. So the idea that Coco Gauff and LeBron James are the flag bearers is wild to me. Like, I know I saw something, Katie Ledecky has an event the next day, so she's not even going to be at the ceremony at all. But Simone Biles, somebody else, like, those are the types of people that I envision as being the flag bearers, the people that do what I think of as like Olympic sports. But the Olympians themselves voted for the famous people. Coco Gauff, and LeBron James. I don't think that's what it's supposed to be, but it's all like working itself out to where, to me, this is kind of going to be treated kind of like career achievement for LeBron, right? I'm shocked that he's playing in this on a level, but that's a different discussion.
Oh, it is so interesting, that divide between professional athletes and then people that have to make all of the money to support what they do in a short window, where you have 4 years to make it count. And then you have like 4 months beforehand and 4 months afterhand to get McDonald's marketing dollars and Nike marketing dollars to then like pay for the rest of your life. I've always, like, the cynical side of me always found it funny how when I would work in local news, you'd have like a swimmer or a gymnast that people have not thought about for 3 years, and then they're on the Today Show or Good Morning America, and people are like, oh my gosh, I'm your biggest fan. And then the cynical side of me would be like, in about 8 months, you're not even going to think about this person anymore. But it's such a bright fame for such a short amount of time that giving it to somebody like LeBron, who is going to be a mainstay in our lives for the next 3 to 4 decades. Like, LeBron's not going anywhere. It does seem to be like a misuse of spotlight to someone that always has it.
Let me ask you this question. If you could have a camera follow anybody in the Olympics around Paris, like you want the documentary through their eyes, no question. Like, I don't even know why I posed this as though it was any mystery. Atlanta-ass Anthony Edwards mobbing the streets of Paris, certainly armed with just enough French to meet women, right? He has learned just a couple of lines. Want to come back to the hotel.
With a baguette.
Yeah. Like, how are you? What's your name? What you trying to do? Like, he has learned those phrases in French. Just like, I just want to see him, and he seems to be so like legitimately like curious and inquisitive, to where I just want to see him walking around with his eyes up. Like, I hope that those cats have the time to like really lean in on some museums and all of that stuff. I need to see the Anthony Edwards in France experience.
We all want the dream team Barcelona, Chuck walking around, Stockton not getting realized. Right. We want Anthony Edwards like leaning in and being like, oh, oui. And it's like, I don't want him smoking a cigarette, but like, if he was on a gondola smoking a cigarette with a mustache, like I'm like, that's how I want him living.
Yes. Like, Anthony Edwards asking, like, I'm trying to think of like what American delegacy he is trying to seek in France. Because the thing, if you haven't been to Paris, and this is something that's underrated about it, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to go there to get French food. It's the best food of whatever food that you're talking about. I went to an Indian restaurant there. That was maybe the best Indian restaurant I've ever been to, because it's a food city, right? So they want the food from all the places. Like, please tell me Anthony Edwards is in there looking for some barbecue. I would love to know if somebody could direct him to a barbecue joint.
You're right, though. There's this thing that happens with age where you lose curiosity. And part of what's great about Anthony Edwards is he simultaneously thinks he can do everything better than anyone else and knows everything, but also is willing to ask questions and completely just throw himself into a culture. He is at that perfect Venn diagram of thinking he could do everything, but still wanting to learn everything. Can I ask you number 4? I really wanted to ask you number 4.
Go for it.
A Wave executive calls you with an offer. Bayless and Bo. A new show with you and Skip. Analytics tell them that it could be the largest show to ever hit the internet. What's your number?
There is no number. There is no. Well, actually, no.
Everyone has a number, Bo.
I'll give you the number, but the number has to have a clause that I get paid no matter how many episodes Skip shows up for, right? So if you tell me $5 million, because look, you give me $5 million, I could quit, right? You give me $5 million, I'll do it. Now, you don't know the story. Some people out here know the story. I will tell the story. Back on when First Take used to do First and 10, before it was Skip the whole show, they would have Skip pop in 4 different times. You'd have 10 topics, right? And I finagled my way onto the show to be on there with Skip. And I'm not really that argumentative and like confrontational on the TV stuff. I told you about how I do the things on CNN. And so I wasn't trying to duke it out. Like, I didn't really feel like duking it out. I didn't want to do that. So I did that a couple times on the show. And they told me that, like, they wanted like a little bit more. And I was just like, yeah, but somebody else's show. Like, I'm very respectful of these things. So then one day I'm up there and somebody sent a tweet in. I think it was Derek Brooks sent a tweet in and asked Skip who his toughest debate opponent was. And he said, Greg Anthony. And I'm kind of joking. I'm like, oh, come on, Skip, I'm right here, baby, right here. And Skip looks at me dead serious and goes, Greg Anthony. And I say, ooh, all right. And so I remember I walked around outside the campus and I asked myself, are we going to do this? Is this what we about to do? And you can't find the footage anymore online, mostly because it was just so long ago. I just held him up with one hand and just body punch after body punch with the other. I was out here flexing. I was out here doing like hood shit. I was doing everything. They got some wheelhouse topics for me where I was getting into it and Skip was jumping in. I'm like, nah, you ain't understanding it. And I'm looking right at Dana Jacobson and I'm laying that game right there directly in front of her. And I remember after that, Skip didn't say goodbye. He just left, and I had been coming once a month, and then the next month came, and they didn't call me about being on the schedule, and then I noticed they didn't call me the month after that, and then I called somebody who would know, and they said, yeah, Skip put the kibosh on that. Skip was like, yeah, I just don't really think it works with that guy. And I say all that to say, we could do Bayless and Bo, but it's only going to last maybe one episode.
Man. What the few things I took from that. Number one, I think the two biggest lies we've been told in our life is that, number one, when you're a child, you have a permanent record and you try to act perfectly, not to ruin this thing that doesn't exist. And two, yes. I thought the internet was always going to exist. And I thought everything we always did would always be on the internet. And there are so many videos that I've loved that either I have made or people have made that do not exist anymore because people have cleaned their servers. And I really thought it was going to be this incredible log of all these moments. And now they're all gone. And we can't find them. And it really upsets me.
I did not realize how many things I needed to download. Like, I never thought that there would be a day that I couldn't look up me and Dan's interview with Ray Shremmerd. It never dawned on me that would happen. You are so correct. You are
right,
so
because
correct.
It was everywhere for so long, and it was probably so easy to call up. And now, how do you get it?
Yep.
I don't know.
Damn shame.
It annoys me.
You got any more questions, big dog?
Yes, I do. Okay, number 11 is just for you. An accountant was just taken number 3 in the NBA draft. And it's crazy because he looks like he should have been number 1. I'm talking about Reed Sheppard. For the first time in over 20 years, we could have a white cornerback starting in the NFL, Cooper DeJean. We have the phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark. We have the future number 1 pick in Cooper Flagg. My question, Big Brain Bomani, is causation or correlation? What event happened around 2000 that could have caused all of this?
This is a great question, man, because like, you're absolutely right. I'm looking at all the sports, and you just want to start humming. Yeah, we tease them a lot because we got them on the spot. Welcome back. White folks is back. White folks is hooping again. White folks is backpedaling again. That's right. It's all happening. And by the way, you will notice across the board what all those white people have in common. They grew up in places with nothing but other white people. Think about that. Cooper Flagg is from Maine. Cooper DeJean is from Iowa. Caitlin Clark is from Iowa. Reed Sheppard is from Eastern Kentucky. Right? Wow. Like, what has happened is
the canary in the coal mine. I watched Joe Burrow come into training camp with blonde hair, and I wondered, is this all related to Slim Shady? When he did 8 Mile, and they were like, you can do things that people don't think you could do. Does it all come back to that, Bomani?
I had not thought about that. That is a great question because you're right. Did Eminem restore like the confidence of the whites? Did he give white people something to believe in that once they knew that white man could rap, you got to stop? Like maybe you could do anything under those circumstances. But once again, like I say, they all grew up amongst each other, right? There was no presence of blackness to make white people hack at the self-esteem of their fellow whites because it be your own people. You know what I'm saying? It be your own people. Wow. We need to find a way to talk to Eminem about this because like maybe we're not giving him enough credit. Now, this makes me ask a different question, though. Does this mean that this wave of white confidence is going to decline, we'll call it 12 years down the line, because that is the appearance of Macklemore, which will then let white people go back to believing that all you got to do is show up?
Man, Macklemore catching strays. That was tough.
Hey, man, look, there's a whole bunch of them that could get it. Machine Gun Kelly. Hey, at least Macklemore ain't no quitter. Like, that's the thing about Macklemore and Eminem. They ain't quitters. Machine Gun Kelly, Post Malone, Everlast, bunch of quitters. They brought them guitars out, and they was like, oh, destiny has called me.
Post Malone, similar.
Not here for it.
Okay, here's this was number 1. Does anyone call you Bojo?
No. There was a stretch on the Le Batard show where they tried to get that going, and I am kind of territorial about like what people call me and the name stuff, and I was not able to demonstrate any sense of humor about that. They had a whole Bojo sounder, and folks, that needed to stop.
Okay, number 54. In 10 years, Drake fans will be blank.
The suckers that they've always been. That's what they'll be. The question is, will they still be Drake fans? Like, is that still going to be a tenable situation? Because look, somebody who got more hell than he actually deserved was MC Hammer. And a lot of people came back around and acted like they were Hammer fans later. But 10 years later, they did not want to claim that they was MC Hammer fans. Now they'll come out here and say that they was down with MC Hammer. I don't know how tenable it's going to be to acknowledge that Drake is what you do. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do hope we get to a point where those people look up and be like, damn, I was tripping. Right? Like when you look at old pictures of yourself in ridiculously baggy jeans, except I just saw a picture of Drake in ridiculously baggy jeans. Apparently we doing that again. And I'm sorry. I've been lifting, man. I got out here working on my body and my physique and stuff like this. I'm going to give y'all this body. I ain't about to be out here looking like a skateboarder in 2024.
You've been talking a lot lately about you going to the gym. How are you going every day? Are you benching? Like, what has caused this confidence to even talk about it?
I do it here. I work out 5 days a week here at the crib. I use the adjustable dumbbells. I got an app that I use that I'm not going to tell you about because they're not paying me for it, and I've suggested that they should pay me for it. But I can tell you, in the last, we'll call it 9 months or so, your boy done gained about 20 pounds. I had to buy new jeans. I had to buy some new shirts. They've been noticing in the chat room. Ask them about your boy in the chat room. They've been seeing me for a long time. It was a long time before I was willing to wear a short sleeve shirt.
Shaq. Is this because Chuck and Shaq made fun of your legs?
No, I had already been on this. No, I had already been in the program. Only the program is the only reason I would have been willing to show my legs on television in the first place. Like, they'll tell you, I was all about hoodies and stuff like that because I need to fill it in a little bit. Now, oh man, I ought to make these things jump for the lady. I make that M on that shirt and that Y on that shirt dance if I wasn't trying to be decent.
That sets me up for number 15. While getting ready for our show at TNT Studios, you remarked that it felt very different than ESPN. If you had to pick a song to represent the energies of both TNT and ESPN, which would you choose for each of those two networks?
All right, so it's a good question on the energy for ESPN because the song is very obvious. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Like, that's what it is. It's a good song. It makes you feel good. It takes you back with some great memories, but it ain't really jamming. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, it doesn't have the energy of the jam. See, the difference between the energy at ESPN and the energy at Turner is the energy at ESPN, at least at the Seaport, would kind of, it depended on who showed up, right? Like some days you show up and Magic Johnson's here, right? Some days you show up and you hear they got to clear everybody out by a certain time because Taylor Swift's going to be there, right? Like it just has a buzz and it goes. And then other days it's just like, man, everybody look like they got 3 jobs and are just a little bit tired, right? The culture at Turner is based around the fact that the biggest star is Charles Barkley. And so everybody better hang loose. Everybody better be cool because we can ridicule the biggest star at every turn, which means you can get ridiculed on camera with no warning by Hall of Famers just because you thought you was going to get a little bit sporty.
Number 8. If I need to stop, please let me know. But I love these. On a recent viral clip of Family Feud, people were flabbergasted at what was voted the top 8 rappers of all time. I was curious which of the 8 and where they were ranked was most egregious to you. I will run through what they came in as. Number 8 was Jay-Z. Number 7 was 50 Cent. Number 6 was Biggie. Number 5 was LL Cool J. Number 4 was Dr. Dre. Number 3 was Eminem. Number 2 was Tupac. And number 1 was Snoop Dogg. Most egregious of those 8.
It depends on what you mean, right? Because Snoop has a lot of dope music, but Snoop is the worst rapper of all the people that you listed. I am surprised that the people had the wherewithal to know that LL Cool J should probably be in the top 10, and shocked that the overwhelming number of white people that I'm sure answered that question left Eminem only at number 3. That is the part that gets me. Jay-Z at number 8, not quite as crazy as I think some people would find it to be, but I will tell you, I intentionally avoided this thing as I saw it bounce around the internet. And once you told me the results, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I was afraid Macklemore was going to be there.
I think Eminem being 3 and not 1 was definitely a surprise. I believe that LL Cool J is on there because he was on one of those NCIS CSI shows.
You're correct. But he should be
that
there.
Played a
That's
huge
the
part
irony
in it too.
Yeah, but the irony is he should be there and people don't realize it.
See, in the producer brain of mine went, Bomani doesn't have Jay-Z in the top 3, and I'm curious now where he has him, because that's the conversation starter that I don't know if you actually want to get into.
Okay, so give me those 8 again, and I'll tell you where I had. Give me those 8, and I'll tell you where I put Jay-Z.
Okay.
Hey, Jay-Z was number 8.
All right, Snoop was 1.
He's above
Tupac
Snoop.
was 2. Eminem was 3. Dr. Dre was 4. LL was 5. 6 was Biggie. 7 was 50. And obviously there's a million left off.
Yes, he is definitively ahead of those 8. Definitively ahead of Dr. Dre, ahead of 50, and ahead of Snoop. He is a better rapper definitively than all those people. And I'll probably say also Eminem, where Eminem is like, Eminem, not to do the same race comparison, but there's a lot of Jason Williams in his game, like super duper flashy. He can do all the tricks, but like not always the best basketball player. You know what I'm saying?
Renegade was incredible, but when you look at the body of work,
yes. Now, I'll tell you this. I understand that younger people would find it crazy to say that LL Cool J is better than Jay-Z, but there is a strong argument if you were like anywhere around that time and understand the magnitude of LL Cool J. And I will tell you this right now. Let me tell you who absolutely thinks LL Cool J is a better rapper than Jay-Z. LL Cool J. If you have seen that interview where he talks about that time that supposedly he battled Jay-Z, and he's like, yeah, Jay-Z was trying to get on. He had a verse ready all the time. I'm LL Cool J. I wasn't thinking about rapping against nobody, you know? And then Pac and Big. Like,
I love that. Yeah, that's hard to
You got to remember, LL and Jay-Z are like the same age.
Wow. That's why.
That's
the
one of those, like, thing
did
about.
You realize that the Renaissance and the Wild West was at the same time? And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense.
No. The thing about LL or Jay-Z generally is that the guys that are his age or around his age are the Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J, like that ring of people. Like he and DMX are in that same category. Like those are the people that are his age. His rapping contemporaries are all way younger than him. Like Jay-Z's like the dude that got to the league when he was 27 and then was somehow the best player in the league at 31.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about his age like that.
Yeah.
I love asking you these questions.
People, you understand, Adam, people think I'm a Jay-Z hater, and I know that you're married to a Jay-Z
Oh,
lover,
I didn't
so
realize
it can get a little
this.
tricky. Oh, yeah, because I just
my wife would
don't.
fight you.
There's no room on his jock left for me. All you guys already have this under control. So I can never be as fervent about his talents as they would like to be because they're so comfortable on their seats on his jock.
Number 15, when Stephen A. Smith signs a contract for $20 to $25 million per year, what will be your first text message to your agent?
Must be nice. Must be nice. I have a range of thoughts about that have nothing to do with anything negative about Stephen A. Smith, but that is a good for him. He gonna get every dime of it. Like I will never forget this because I try not to talk about their little ESPN business, but I'll never forget this. When Mike Greenberg got his big contract and Stephen A. was not making nearly as much money, Stephen A. started coming in and doing blocks on Get Up to get the number up for the First Take number. And it was the most amazing thing in the world. He basically did the thing where, like in the band where you challenge somebody for their seat. That's basically what he did. He was just like, watch me do this for somebody else. Oh, word. Okay. Got it. And his money been climbing ever since.
It is insane to watch. Money 22. Which athlete would have made the most NIL money if it was possible? Tim Tebow, Bo Jackson, Jimmer Fredette, Grant Hill.
Tim Tebow, number 1. Grant Hill, number 2. Jimmer's interesting because Jimmer would have made the NIL money. And we're assuming in this case, NIL money actually to promote stuff, right? It would just be for, shall we say, a somewhat narrow subset, but a fervent group that would buy up all the Jimmer Fredette stuff.
He was Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark for me.
He was
men's Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, he's like, what if Caitlin Clark wasn't as good?
All right, I have a few more, but I feel like I'm. One of mine was who's the Karl Anthony Towns of the NFL?
I was about to say let's get one more for the road, but I don't even think it's possible to be Karl Anthony Towns in the NFL.
Okay,
give me one more
for the road. I shouldn't have gone there. That was like I knew it positive. So we'll go on like would you rather? Okay. We're going to do this. I'm not going to ask the around the horn rankings and how you were 5th and how you probably should have been higher than that.
Yes, boy. Stopping myself. Go ahead. You go now.
Okay. The spirit of Prince returns to Earth and goes, Bomani, I would like to participate in a Verzuz. Right when that happens, Swiss Beat and Timbaland call you on a conference call. And they said, Bo, we need your advice. Who do we partner with Prince to pair up to do this Verzuz? Who do you pick? How does it go? And who wins?
I have no doubt in my mind who I pick. We pick Drake.
Wow, I thought you were going to pick Michael Jackson.
I want to see Drake get dunked on for 2 straight hours. Song after song. Drake comes out here, just hold on, we coming home. Prince comes out with 777 93 11, just over and over. Prince talking crazy to him. Prince like, would you like to play my guitar? Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. Why don't you try to sing this song with me? Do you have the range? That's what I'm trying to see. That's what I'm trying to see. I'm not looking for a competition. I'm looking for a blowout.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that. You want like a 40-point. You want what the line was for USA South Sudan. You want
That
a
is right.
43.5-point Prince over
That's
Drake
right.
victory.
You're like,
Wow.
who do I want to see? You're like, who do I want to see play against the Dream Team? Angola. That's who I want to see play against the Dream Team. Angola. I don't know where Angola is, but I know Angola's in trouble. That's what I'm.
Do you
That's
know how
what
fun
I'm
it
trying.
was drinking cappuccinos, being in a mindset that you were at a party, and just coming up with questions and going, "How is Bomani going to answer this, and who is he going to attack?" It is really fun. So I appreciate you letting me do that.
I appreciate you playing along with this. And can I ask you to do one thing for me?
Yeah.
Can you give? Do you do your Charles Barkley in public or only in private?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But Adam, you come in here. It's not Lefkoe, it's Adam. Man, you're an idiot, bro.
Oh man. I
So good.
man. I've been around him so much that sometimes when I'm near him, I forget and I do it after I hear him talk. Like if I'm in the green room and he's like, "Oh, what a bad shot." And I'll be like, "That's an awful shot." And then he'll look at me and I'll be like, I heard it and then I said it and I'm sorry. It's he's one of a kind.
Only he is good with these things, though. That's the
Yes.
thing. He's the only person. I cannot, especially for somebody who likes to fight. He is remarkably cool with all of this.
That's what I think is so interesting is I have seen people truly test his nerves, and typically it's like when we're out and we're relaxing and then someone's coming over and they either want to argue about sports or get an autograph, and then he switches real quick and he gets serious. But I've seen so many people that still think he's joking. And I'm like, you do know that this guy has thrown people through windows. Like Charles Barkley does not mess around, but we're so used to him being a lovable, huggable, laughing guy that when it does flip, oh man, it'll catch you off guard. It catches
Everybody
people.
needs to understand James, his guy James. I like James a lot, but people need to
Yes.
understand James is not here to protect Charles. James is here to protect us. James is here to stop Charles from doing what he finds to be entertaining, which is roughing people up.
James is Charles's bodyguard. There was one time in Dallas where he spotted a dude across the bar watching us for 2 hours. And for 2 hours, he watched that dude. And right at the end, this dude made a beeline to try and talk to Chuck, and he got a stiff arm right to the chops. And I was like, James, man, you worked silently for 2 hours on that one guy. And he was like, do you remember the first time that I stiff armed you? And I was like, yeah, James, how could I forget? I was walking down a hallway and I was drunk and I saw Chuck and I was going, "My Chuck, how you doing, brother?" And out of nowhere, James came and put one right in my chest. And Chuck was like, no, that's okay. That's Adam. And he looked at me and I was like, James, don't forget my face because I can't handle any more of these stiff arms, bro. It's just, you're never ready for it.
That is Lefkoe. He ain't even got no first name no more. That's Lefkoe. Check him out all over the place where Lefkoe can't be found. Sir, you know we got to do this again, right? Like you performed yourself into a regular call.
I would absolutely love to. This is you're the man, Sean. You're the man, and to everybody in the comment section right now, you are the people. Leave a 5-star review. If you leave a 4-star review, I'm inclined to believe that you are a hater. Damn, that felt
There
good.
we go. I don't even have no more lies left. That is Adam Lefkoe, my man. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 3 times a week. Sean Yu handles everything behind the scenes. Subscribe, like. Lefkoe told you all the rest. We'll see you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.